Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. Something very significant has taken place. It was before in the past that many companies, organizations, banks, whatever, what have you, when they would talk about cryptocurrency, it was that crypto was not a threat, crypto was not going to be a threat. And even a couple of days ago we heard something where someone said, crypto is not really ever going to be a problem, we'll work on that should we ever get to that point. What's actually kind of interesting is that you'll kind of get it as I go on and read it, because it is something that I think more people in crypto should be talking about, that we should maybe even be celebrating, because it, to me, clearly shows exactly where the cryptocurrency space is going. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into it. The International Banking Authority, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, or the BCBS, has issued a warning statement on crypto assets on the 13th of March. The BCBS is a committee of banking supervisory authorities hosted and supported by the Switzerland-based Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, which is an organization made up of 60 of the world's central banks. And in today's statement, the committee warned that the robust growth of the crypto industry could potentially raise financial stability concerns and increase risks faced by banks. The committee noted the risks were present despite the crypto market's currently small scale in relation to the scope of the global financial system. The BCBS also argued that crypto assets are unsafe to rely on as a medium of exchange or store of value, two of the main functions of money, implying that cryptocurrency is a misnomer. The authority also stated that crypto assets do not represent legal tender and are not backed by any government or public authority, end quote, pointing to a large number of risks associated with the interaction between banks and crypto-related businesses, including the risk of money laundering, terrorist financing, fraud, and hacking. The BCBS provided a list of minimum requirements for a bank to operate crypto-related services. According to the committee, any bank that decides to work with crypto-related assets should first ensure it possesses relevant technical expertise to adequately evaluate the risks associated with the field. The banks should also guarantee a clear and effective risk management framework, providing regular relevant data related to the bank's crypto asset risk profile. Additionally, a bank should also publicly disclose any crypto-related services along with its usual financial disclosures, as well as be compliant with local regulators. In January, the BIS published research claiming that departing from Bitcoin's proof-of-work system will not solve the major problems faced by the biggest cryptocurrency. One of the really fascinating things that I've seen over the last couple of years, and I think a lot of people just really don't pay attention to it. I think a lot of it has, sorry about that, that was my mobile. I think a lot of people have kind of come to the conclusion that anything that's kind of negative about crypto ends up being FUD, ends up, really, people really don't dig too much deeper into it. They just assume that the financial institution who's talking about it just simply has no idea what they're talking about, which is normally the case. But here we have a very specific situation, because over the last couple of months, the world has changed. You may not have felt it. You may not have necessarily seen it. But if you've been paying attention to this channel or any other cryptocurrency-related channel or any type of crypto-related news over the past, I want to say, let's say 9-10 months, we went through a phase where governments paid no attention to us. Governments said we weren't a risk or a threat. And then by the end of 2017, they were threatening us that they were going to ban cryptocurrency all over the world. There was actually an article somewhere on Medium. I can't find it. I don't have it. It was very interesting. This guy actually went over a chart that kind of showed the dates. And I remember mentioning this before. I said it's very weird. This was around April of last year. I said it's very weird that we have all these countries and governments coming out almost like 1 week after another. It was very like the timing was a little bit too off for me, at least. The guy in his graph, he was showing every single time that Bitcoin's price in the cryptocurrency market kept on going down, it was like hours before it would be that the Indian government, the American government, the European governments around around Europe, the Russian government, Indian government, South Korean, you name it. it was at least 15 different countries who came out weeks after one another. It was always the same exact time frame, and every single time that they released news, prices in cryptocurrencies were going down. And I said, it seems kind of odd that they would be so desperate to kind of make sure that they're jumping into regulating cryptocurrencies before we actually hit the $1 trillion valuation. Everyone kept on saying, we're in our own little space. The government doesn't really care about us. And I kept on saying, I have a very strong feeling that we mean a lot more to them than they're actually letting on. And this is why I always kept on saying that every single time that Jamie Dimon was in the news, which for some reason, if you missed that moment in history, you are very lucky. There was a point where Jamie Dimon, who is the head of JP Morgan Chase, he was in the news at least twice a week talking about Bitcoin. He hated Bitcoin. He didn't have any Bitcoin. He was not going to buy any Bitcoin. Bitcoin should not be around. Why do people use Bitcoin? Bitcoin's for criminals. It was constant. It was over and over and over. And I said after the 14th time, I was like, if you really didn't care about Bitcoin, you probably wouldn't make sure that you were constantly in the news talking about Bitcoin and how much you hated and how much you despised it. To me, I don't know. Allegedly, my own opinion, I'm pretty sure he probably owns an enormous amount of Bitcoin. Just my own personal speculation. What we have right now is finally, and this is why I said maybe I'm a bit more optimistic than most. What it comes down to is that we have never had proper clarification from an organization made up of 60 central banks around the world who have finally come to the conclusion that not only is cryptocurrency a threat, but that it is going to threaten the traditional financial system as we know it. And this is why, if you notice around here, it gets very intense. They make sure to say that, crypto has the risk of money laundering, terrorist financing, fraud, hacking, etc., etc., even when we know that fiat currencies also have the same exact problems. Even PayPal, I could mention about 15 different things around the world that we use on a daily basis that are also being used for illegal activities, as people like to call them. What's the most fascinating is that for me, once again, everything is about timing. And I don't think that this was, this information could have been released to lower cryptocurrency prices. I feel like it was kind of one of the last stunts that we're actually going to have from central banks, as far as like them releasing information like this about them being afraid, about them being scared. Because if you read between all of this, it comes down to the fact that, and this is why I think sometimes if you've never heard Andreas Antonopoulos speak, I implore you to do so. I did not care for Andreas at the very beginning when he first came into the cryptocurrency space. It was just another bit of noise in the background. Some of the stuff that he's spoken about years ago is now coming true, and I think it's absolutely fascinating when someone he didn't even predict that these things were going to happen. It was just kind of the natural progression of where cryptocurrencies were going and exactly where Bitcoin was going, exactly how large Bitcoin would become. The major thing is we have now, with Bitcoin only being 10 years old, not old at all, it's still relatively completely new compared to the other things that we've been talking about: gold, silver, metals, bonds, ETFs, stocks, what have you, etc., etc. That is now posing an amazing risk to the entire original financial institutional world, if you kind of want to call it that. I'm going to make sure that everyone kind of understands exactly where all of this is going. I feel like part of the reason we've also seen major amounts of adoption of the cryptocurrency space, of the cryptosphere, of cryptocurrency assets, digitized assets, across the broader market, across the broader world. There are a lot of people who are finally opening up their doors, or maybe they're just finally admitting that they're finally opening up their doors when they may have done so a couple of years ago. And I think, my opinion, that this is now putting central banks into a very interesting situation, because you can scream as loud as you want that you hate something, or how much it's a fraud, or how much that you don't really care for it. But if other major institutions kind of get into it, you end up looking silly as the years eventually end up going on. So like I said, I'm going to make sure that everyone really gets this, because what we've seen before is that while we've had many handful of banks, institutions, what have you, getting into cryptocurrency, these 60 right here, I can only imagine which countries that they're from. If you paid attention to the last couple of, let's say last 10 videos, you can probably put together a list of at least 10 different countries who have come forward talking about that they hate crypto, they don't like it, it's being banned in their country. They're putting harsh regulations on top of it, because while many people, exchanges, whatever, what have you, have opened their eyes to realize that crypto is not going anywhere. And unless you want to unplug the entire internet for a year, cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere, and Bitcoin is definitely not going anywhere. So digging around, and this is like the barely the surface of beginning to scratch it. It's kind of more to remind everyone, because sometimes I think we all do lose focus. I think we all do have these moments where we question our position in the cryptocurrency markets, if we should be there, if it's going to do anything, if the prices are going to rise. This is not financial advice, by the way. This is just me reminding everyone of exactly what's happening in the world around us. While cryptocurrency prices may remain stagnant, while prices aren't going up, while we may have world governments hating us, central banks who think that cryptocurrencies are only for criminals or to finance terrorism or to do other things that are deemed illegal in different countries around the world, there is a huge shift in the tide of the wind. That is not a saying, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. It took me a couple of years. I want to say at least a good 1 or 2 years since I first got into crypto that made me really believe in the cryptocurrency space. 2017 kind of completely solidified where crypto is going for me. But like I said, even though we may have news like this, I feel like this is because of the fear that they see and that they understand that's actually going to take place in the world all around us. So like I said, this is just to drill it into everyone's head. This is what I'm here for, to let you understand that crypto is not going anywhere. For those who are not looking at the screen, I will definitely read these out for you. It says the Swiss stock exchange operator plans to launch a cryptocurrency exchange. Thailand Stock Exchange is considering a government license to trade Bitcoin. That means that they probably see where everyone else is going with this, and that the Thai Stock Exchange is probably also going to have a cryptocurrency trading platform sometime in 2019. The New York Stock Exchange owner predicts that Bitcoin will become the first worldwide currency. Keep that in your mind. The NASDAQ CEO predicts Bitcoin could be the global currency of the future. The Jamaican Stock Exchange is going to offer cryptocurrency trading as well. Fidelity plans on launching, or rather they already have launched, a platform for Bitcoin and soon to be Ethereum. Morgan Stanley says Bitcoin is a new institutional investment class. And some of the best parts about all of these is that if you actually look at the dates of the articles, this was made in 2018. And this is why I said I think a lot of times we hear things or we see things in the cryptocurrency space, and you have to understand what's happening, what's taking place right now. Even it could be the beginning of this article over here. You are meant to be shaken out of the cryptocurrency space. You are meant to be rattled. You are meant to be your faith is meant to be shaken in crypto, in the idea of Bitcoin. When prices don't move, when things don't go your way, when prices aren't going up, you are meant to lose faith in decentralization. You are meant to lose faith in the new asset class. You are meant to lose faith in the global currency of the future, so that you sell, so that prices lower, so that larger institutions can buy up what you have. This is something that we've seen before many other times in finance. This is not something that's new. This is not something that they have just invented over the last couple of weeks, that they've been like, guys, maybe we should lower the prices to, get more for ourselves. This is something that has happened across every single market for as long as humans have probably existed. Another one says the German Stock Exchange to start cryptocurrency exchange, which I think also just launched, keeping that March time frame in your head. Why Fidelity is mining Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is an article from Fortune. This came out in 2017. I mentioned before, many other times, and many people disagree with me, I said banks and institutions are definitely mining and acquiring Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP and Litecoin and any of the other top 10 coins that are out there, because they're trying to hoard as much of it for themselves as humanly possible. And to kind of bring the point home, cryptocurrencies are not only going away, they're being integrated into everything. And I always wonder, and I guess we will never have specific numbers coming our way as to exactly how much is being accumulated. When you think, when you hear the heads of the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange talking about that Bitcoin is probably going to become the world's first worldwide currency. This is where you get into those really crazy cryptocurrency numbers. As many banks and institutions claim that they hate us, they don't like us. They think that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are going to zero. They have no position in it. Why would we be buying it? Why would we be dealing with it? No one's going to use this. It's complete garbage. It's nonsense. Thank you, Mr. Warren Buffett, for bringing that point home, because Warren Buffett has been so actively against the cryptocurrency space. I can only imagine how much he's actually buying on the sidelines. What I find to be the most interesting out of all of this, and this is why sometimes I think it's interesting when people, and myself included a couple of times, lose faith in Ethereum. For those who don't know, there's something called the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. It's pretty much a major organization where all these companies have come together to announce that they are going to be using Ethereum to pretty much write code on, to build their platforms, to build tokens on top of, to even use the Ether token. A lot of people lose sight, once again, of the big names who are into the Ethereum Alliance. And once again, this is from 2017, so keep in mind, it includes JP Morgan Chase, Microsoft, and Intel. And there's at least just several hundred of them who are actually into it as well. And if you dig a bit deeper, somewhere around here, there's also something called the R3 Consortium, who have pretty much, not that they're a rival or challenger to the other one, but everyone kind of believes in their own set of coins. Part of the R3 Consortium, we have Goldman Sachs, Santander, and Morgan Stanley. Crypto is, if you don't think that JP Morgan Chase, Microsoft, Intel, IBM, Goldman Sachs, Santander, and Morgan Stanley are getting into cryptocurrency to make sure that this is the brand new asset class that is going to make multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, you are sadly mistaken. The writing isn't even on the wall anymore. It's written everywhere. It's right in front of your face. If this is your first time visiting the channel, hello, welcome to you. You have to understand how much gusto it takes for the largest stock exchanges in the entire world to announce that they're getting into a cryptocurrency that is 10 years old. What do you think is going to happen to the prices of all these cryptocurrencies, and especially for Bitcoin, when they finally launch on all of these platforms and we have trillions of dollars transacting every single day, pushing these coins around? I saw this article earlier, and I thought it was one of the greatest things in the entire world. I think when a lot of other people see articles like this, I think they shy away from them. I think they, once again, consider them to be FUD. I hate the word FUD, but it means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's meant, this is kind of exactly what it is. It's meant to make you distrust crypto. It's meant to sow the seeds behind your mind where you go, why have I put so much money into crypto? Why have I listened to other people? I see some of the comments as well sometimes on the in the comment section, people who no longer believe, people who have left. It is because not that they are blind or cannot see, is that maybe in the nicest way possible, maybe they just cannot read. If you think crypto's going anywhere, even if it was only just the NASDAQ who was going to be listing Bitcoin, you are sadly mistaken. Crypto's not going anywhere, and I think this is one of the final dominoes that we actually were waiting for to fall. When you have, think of that. When you have an organization made up of 60 world central banks who came together to discuss how dangerous cryptocurrencies were, you know that not only is crypto going nowhere anytime soon, but they understand that the power that they have held on to for, depending on how far back you want to look, especially if you look back at genealogy, for hundreds of years, is coming to an end. And this is why I always say, if you are into crypto right now, you are one of the lucky ones. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I do appreciate all of your support. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.